Okay guys, hey there, it's Jet888. Today is September 30th, and I'm going to be talking about, real quickly, how I got booted off this Bonita, California neighborhood watch because one of the moderators, Adriana LB, who, this is the cover of her Facebook page, Disney, here she is again, and this deals with the water issues I've been seeing. So she wrote on August 28th, hey there, a couple members on the page have flagged your post on the Neighborhood Watch. That page is meant for reporting crimes and safety-related concerns. She writes, it goes without saying that you're completely entitled to believe what you'd like, but please post it on your personal page rather than the Neighborhood Watch page. Thank you. And I wrote, oh, sorry, I thought if they were poisoning our drinking water, people would be concerned. I've heard from others that they are drinking the water lately and their throat feels very scratchy, and I have found this to be true. So I thought others would be something that they'd want to know. On September 4th, I asked her, I said, so you removed me from my community, because she was deleting my, my post. And she goes, not at all. I think you blocked the group, which I didn't. She writes, not sure why you can't access the group any longer. I'll check with the other admins. That was September 5th. And she writes here too. She goes, you have been given several warnings about your posts, which you continue to post. So you now have been removed from the group, which the August 28th was the only time she said that she just said a couple members on the page have flagged your post. So, and she said it's meant for reporting crimes and safety related concerns. As some of you have seen, I did post my concern about the August 8th flight over our Loveland Reservoir, which feeds Sweetwater River Reservoir, which feeds Bonita, by San Diego Gas and Electric. And all I did is I just showed the flight. I showed this picture that shows the flight and the date, and for some reason they have deleted this flight. San Diego Gas and Electric has, over their activity over Loveland Reservoir. They've deleted it. There is also this flight, and I think that this was August 30th, but again, it shows a lot of activity over our water reservoir. This is over El Capitan Reservoir, again by SDG&E at 160AQ as a registration number. And this is the altitude and the speed when they're over the water. This is the flight data recording that shows the flights that N160AQ made. On the left, you'll see the actual date. And then what I did notice was the date on the 8th, or on the 16th and the 17th flights were deleted. And these flights were specifically around the water as well. You have flights also going on that were, let's say, for instance, they show a 12-minute flight starting at 8:57, and then it ends at 2:09. Well, sorry, but 12 minutes added to 8:57 does not equal 2:09. So what were they doing during those hours over the water? Same here on September 19th, which a few flights have taken place on that date by both the San Diego County Sheriff and the San Diego Police. So here's 10 minutes starting at 7:11 p.m. So a 10-minute flight should end you up at 7:21 p.m., right? Well, here they landed at 2:20 a.m. So what happened with all those hours? On September 20th, on this flight, they don't even show the data. So here are some flights I'm going to show. N313DP. This is our San Diego County Sheriff. Now here's a flight that ended on, well, September 25th. I'm going to scrub this so it just ended, or it started here. They fly around. And then this ends here. I don't know why my camera's not focusing. But this flight basically ends with a little swirl near Lake Hodges. So this says Lake Hodges provides the water source for neighboring communities and the habitat for many different animals. So usable water, right? That means you should be able to drink it. So that flight is September 25th. It shows 58 minutes of flight time, and here they take off at 5:49 p.m. and they end at 1:47 a.m. So does that add up to you? So they initially took off from Gillespie Field. That's in El Cajon, California. They took off at 5:49. They had a 58-minute flight. That's 6 hours and 47 minutes that it should be, 6:47. But instead they are landing at 1:47 a.m. So that flight time should be showing 6:47 p.m., not 1:47 a.m. So south of this, they came up here, did all these twirlies and stuff, flew over Lake Hodges and happened to end right by Lake Hodges. So that was the September 25th flight that I just showed, with lots of missing time. So it's 7 hours of flight time missing. Then they log a September 26th flight. Look, it doesn't even show a takeoff. Supposedly the flight was only 15 minutes, so they started at 1:51 a.m. and their flight lands at 7:06. So 15 minutes added to 1:51 a.m. That should have brought us to 2:06 a.m. according to their times, not 7:06 p.m. So on the 25th, they stop at Lake Hodges. The GPS just stops. That was on the 25th. And then above it, on the 26th, their flight happens to start on the other end of Lake Hodges, actually at the same place, basically. So there's where they started up again. Here's where they stopped the previous flight. So what did they do all around Lake Hodges for hours and hours at a time? There are so many examples of this. And again, one more example, here's the sheriff, San Diego County Sheriff Department, and also, by the way, their expiration was August 31st, 2023. Today is September 30th, 2023. They're a month past their registration. If we had to delete our past due registration, do you think that we would be in trouble at all? So here's another example. Here, boxed in red, is on the 29th of September. They have a 28-minute flight, supposedly, that starts at 2:17 p.m. Again, they're taking off from Gillespie Field. This is in the lakeside area. They go north to Poway near Escondido. They come down south again, and they end up right above, right on top of the El Capitan water reservoir. They've done this many times. Then we have 7 hours of missing flight data. Here's the El Capitan reservoir. So they did a 28-minute flight, taking off at 12:17 p.m. and they land at 7:45 p.m. I don't know about you, but math, if you know how to do math, that doesn't add up. 28 minutes added to 12:17. Their flight time should have been 12:45, not 7:45. So what are they doing from the time they land to flying all over El Capitan Reservoir to the time they turn on their GPS again and start heading back home? They go way south. They go right towards the Tijuana border, Tijuana, California border, do a little loop-de-loop, and come back and again land in Gillespie Field. That's just one example of the San Diego County Sheriff Department's activity. Now, there were 2 flights on September 19th, both by, well, one by the San Diego Police Department and one by the Sheriff Department. So here is the flight registration tail number N710SD as in San Diego. On the 19th in the red box, it shows here, that's who flew, N710SD. You don't have any times, no data, nothing. It says unknown. That hot mess flying all over the place is their unknown flight all over San Diego. And right here in the red box, this is the Sweetwater Reservoir. And here is one of their loop activities. And when you look closely and you you replay the flight, the actual flight, itself, it shows them greatly slowing down to, to going at 300 feet. They even went to 275 feet at one point and at 9 knots. At one time, now the UTC time is different, but this is shows at UTC time 3:33 a.m. they're flying at 300 feet and happen to go 3 knots. Isn't that interesting? They continued their flight with the same type of pattern where when they get near and by the water, they again fly very, very low, and again only at 300 feet. And at one point they even flew at 275 feet. But here again is another area loop. They loop this area twice. So when you see the white, that's when they go really low. But this is right above the Sweetwater Reservoir. And I'm not even sure, but I don't think that this is even the jurisdiction of the San Diego Police Department. I think this is county, so I'm not sure. But right here, September 19th, it's also another flight. It says supposedly takes 10 minutes. They start at 3:29 a.m., a 10-minute flight, and they land at 8:39 p.m. So what was really happening? Now the September 20th flight, I'm just showing as an example. It says here they flew for 1 hour. They took off at 1:44 a.m. So what do you think 1:44 plus 1 hour is? That's right, 2:44 a.m. That's how it should look. That's how it should look. You don't have these unknown not showing you anything, especially when they are flying a hot mess like this, and especially over a reservoir that provides drinking water. Now here is a flight, it's in 709 WG. The owner is San Diego County Sheriff Department. This log states September 20th, doesn't say when they took off. 43-minute flight time. They took off at 6:39 a.m. So 43 minutes plus 6 at 6:39 a.m. You don't land at 12:23 a.m. And again, this flight is all over the place in Bonita, and it just happens to end. They turn off their GPS trackers. This is Sweetwater Reservoir, and look at the white. So you know the white is showing that they're flying very low, but then they turn off their tracker. So the September 20th flights no longer are shown because here's live right now, so they don't show it. So they're scrubbed. So if you don't document it, you're not going to see it. So one more example, September 25th. Here's 7N709 WG, a 42-minute flight. They take off at 12:16 p.m. and they land at supposedly 7:57 p.m. We're going to go look at that flight. Here's the pattern. They again leave from Gillespie Field, and when they get up to Valley Center, here's their flight pattern. Notice how you've got some missing area right there, and how you have a straight line that goes from here heading over here. It goes dead basically, and then you're very close to this Lake Wolford water, this reservoir, this lake. This is east of the 15, and it's near Valley Center. Interesting how they're showing this, which I don't really believe. It says mysterious sinkhole opens up Lake Wolford, so that's sort of weird. So regarding Lake Wolford, all alcohol prohibited in all areas, no swimming, wading, or bodily contact with the water. It says this is a domestic drinking water reservoir. Okay, so the San Diego County Sheriff somehow turns off their GPS with some data missing there. And we're very close to Lake Wolford. This is September 25th with the 42-minute flight that happened to take off on 12:16 and landed at 7:57 p.m. Doesn't add up. We're going to see what the next leg of this flight was on September 25th. See how they don't show where they've taken off? They're basically in mid-flight. 51-minute flight. 7:58. See, they dropped off here, started again here with all that time missing. 12:58 p.m. should have been the landing time, not 7:57 p.m. Again, basically 7 hours going missing. 7 hours seems to be their favorite time to cut out. So then they start their flight up again, almost where they sort of left off, but again, we're right by this big lake that it's for drinking water, also above Lake Dixon, but they're flying around Daly Ranch. This is the Escondido area, Valley Center. So what is with the 7 hours not being accounted for? They should have just been landing around 8:58, so almost like a 9 o'clock time, not 1:48 p.m. That's over 4.5 hours missing of that flight. So to me, anywhere you see these dashes where there's empty spaces, that means they're not recording their activity. We're missing out on a lot of the time. Like for an example, on the 27th of September, they say they fly for 1 hour and 10 minutes. They took off at 8:53 a.m. and there's 10:03 a.m. is when they landed. That adds up. That's how it should look. But when you look at this flight on September 27th, again, taking off at Gillespie Field, heading north, coming east, and doing something weird around that water. It's always around the water. The GPS gets turned off. This is Lake Henshaw. This is west of Warner Springs off the 76. And at the 76 and 79, it reconnects, goes right over Witch Creek, which there was a huge Witch Creek fire years ago, I think 6 years ago or so. And then their flight stops. And guess what? It stops at the Four Corners, which right here is the El Capitan Reservoir. And just the other day I did a live capture of this. There was 2 flights when I looked at 2 different data recording flights. One flight showed the helicopter just hovering right here forever and ever and not moving, while another flight tracker showed it not even reaching the reservoir yet. So it was really strange how there was a lot of different information on the same flight. So that flight, the tracker again turns off before it hits El Capitan. And we're going to go look at the flight above it. So that was the 1 hour and 10 minute flight. And then when you look above it, it's September 27th again, a 10-minute flight, 5:22. We should be landing at 5:32 p.m., right? But instead we're landing at 10:31 a.m. Let's go look and see what they did. So what a coincidence. They're just now south of where they last were seen and spotted. Just happens to be, again, above El Capitan Reservoir. So they end their flight there and begin their flight there, just south of El Capitan Reservoir now, or still over it. But what do they do in between all that time? That is a lot of time missing. You go from 5:22 p.m. You should have landed at 5:32 p.m., but yet they're showing at 10:31 a.m. So we've got San Diego County sheriffs. We've got San Diego police departments that aren't even registered. You've got San Diego Gas and Electric all making these weird flights over our drinking water. And these are all just an example of some of the reservoirs that I've seen this strange activity around. You've got El Capitan, Sweetwater Reservoir, Otay Lakes Reservoir, Lake Wolford, Lake Hodges, and Loveland Lake. So when someone brings up concerns regarding what they're seeing, and you have a moderator who obviously loves Disney blocking out your information, I don't know what to say. But just be careful of people who claim to be a local moderator or someone who acts like they care, and they're actually deleting information that could be critical. So watch out for the puppet handlers, okay? And they block your information, and they block you from posting on a public site or it's a page specifically for, this is her quote, for reporting crimes and safety related concerns. You got to wonder what they're blocking and why. Don't forget to look up and watch who you trust.